Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. Let's get started with our hosts, Linda McKissick and Dana Gentry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda McKissick.
And I'm Dana Gentry.
Hey, Dana, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Looked like your pictures were awesome from your leadership retreat that you did with your team.
Yes, it was really good. It was so awesome. Leadership team of all of our offices and another office that we're sharing some services and stuff with, but it was really good. It was interesting though. I was actually going to tell you this. When you have like it made me realize I need to do it more, because when you have like two undivided days with undivided attention where we're just all together, what we could accomplish is so much more than like every day. We just get caught in so much stuff during the day. I'm like, golly, what we accomplished in 2 days was amazing, because we didn't have any interruptions or any checks to cut or any appointments to hold or anything like that. So it was great.
So do you kind of feel like it's like the difference of getting people, agents in your team to work on the business instead of in it?
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah, I think I remember years of struggling with that with myself. And I've heard other people when I coach them say, look, they just don't want to get out of their business to get to work on it. And that's where the power happens. That's where the magic happens, is when they can spend time working on the business, not in it.
That's what we did. And the other thing too, real quick, aha from that is, I did just one quick little two exercises, I guess, on just like personal growth. I did one John Maxwell lesson and then another one that our coach Terry told me about, which I'm actually going to talk about that in this episode. And it was crazy just how much they loved the personal growth part of everything else. And I was like, man, this was just a good reminder that I need to keep pouring into them on like personal growth side of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I think we don't realize how much personal growth we have done.
Yeah.
And other people really some people haven't had a chance to do that.
Yep, totally.
That's awesome. So this episode, I'm super excited about. I've been waiting for us to answer this question. This question came from Katie, and her question was, how can her and her husband get on the same page?
Yep.
Being able to navigate the personal side of our relationship and maintaining love and connection while building the business. We are struggling to find joy in working together and communicate effectively. It's as if I speak Russian, he speaks French, but we both used to be bilingual and forgot how to work together in a productive way. The collaboration isn't there like it used to be. Does that make sense? And it does make a lot of sense. And I think, she was asking me because I had mentioned to her that Jimmy and I have worked together for 28 years, I guess. And it is hard to try to keep that balance. And how do you not let the work bleed over to home and all that stuff? And so I had mentioned to her that we worked with a business psychotherapist, that the whole group was top performing agents, but we were all couples. Mm-hmm. So he was really good. He had to do, like Jimmy said, he had to do a lot of conflict resolution sometimes. And so one of the things I said to her, and then I'd love to hear what your advice would be. I said, yes, absolutely. This makes sense. A couple of thoughts. Read a book by my business psychotherapist called Black Belt of the Mind. I think I've mentioned that before. It's by Dr. Fred Gross. And a couple of other thoughts I said, just get clear on, remind yourself what you're both going to get at the end. And part of her issue is a lot of the stuff that she's working on, that she's talking about, that they work together on, is long-term building wealth. And so a lot of times you don't get a lot of immediate gratification. And I think that's hard. But I think her issue here really was, how do we not bring this at home? Because, I've worked all day. He actually does something else too. So I think when he does something else, he comes home, he's super excited to talk about this part. And she's like ready to be with the kids. And so I explained to him about channeling. And I think I mentioned that before on our podcast, but it's so important to get real clear about what channel are you supposed to be on. You and I love business. We could talk about business all day long. And I find this even with Jimmy, I'm more of, I want to talk about stuff a lot, and he doesn't. So, he was the one that had to remind me one time that, a real estate seminar wasn't a vacation for everybody in the family. And I was totally shocked that not everyone thought that was a great vacation. So we had to start taking separate vacations than just real estate training seminars. But I think that happens sometimes. And so I think getting real clear boundaries about, look, when we're home, let's be home. And when we're at work, let's be at work. And so we hung channels in our office, and channel 37 was work and channel 99 was home, I think is what it was. I've forgotten the exact numbers, but that really helped us. And we had certain things where you can only have so long to go handle a business situation. And you had to come back and truly be with family. And I remember also, like, the kids always hearing you talk about business. Yeah. It's a problem, it's, and getting on the same page. And this could be a similar problem with a couple that he isn't in the real estate business and she is, or he is and she isn't. I hear those same issues when we try to talk to people about wealth. They say, that's great. I want to do this. I want to buy investment properties. I want to build my wealth, but my spouse doesn't.
It was like Jenny at the last Leadership Academy. Do you remember how she was talking? Yeah.
Yeah.
Her husband just didn't feel like it was safe, and she's been dying to be able to invest. So yeah, that's very similar situation to Katie's.
Yeah, I remember a time when Jimmy and I were disagreeing on something. He came from the restaurant and nightclub business, so he's always had this love for doing a restaurant. And so we had lost our rear ends. We'd already got $600,000 down in debt. And then all of a sudden we're selling real estate. We're doing good. And he goes and opens a barbecue place that did not do very well. And I'm pretty frustrated. And, Gary gave me the best advice. He was coaching me at the time. And he said, maybe Jimmy just has this piece of him that needs to take certain risk or do certain things. Why don't y'all just allocate a certain amount of money? And that's his amount of money to be able to do that. And that was very good advice, because I think where the frustration and rub happens with people is either when you expect the other person to know, like in this situation, her to expect that for him to know that I feel like I need to be with the kids because I've been working all day, and you come home and want to talk about this side building wealth thing that we're doing, it robs from the kids. So I think first thing it starts with is very clear communication of, what's important, right? And helping them understand how you feel about having to work all day and then come home and talk about all this stuff at the same time. And you feel like it's robbing the kids or it's not allowing you to have downtime or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree with that. Yeah. I'm terrible at that. So Adam has helped a ton, because I could talk about work and think about work and eat and talk about work and watch TV and talk about work all the time. And so I've gotten a lot better with Adam just over the last couple of years, really kind of helped me. But a couple of things that I wrote down in regards to actually working together are to really know your strengths and then each of your strengths, which seems like kind of a given, but Adam and I have actually made lists before of the things that I naturally am a little bit better at and the things that he's naturally a little bit better at. He's much better with handling the money. So I just said, I just need X amount of dollars per month. And I don't care whatever else it happens or whatever else anything is. This is what I'm content with. This is what I need for, whatever. And then take the rest and invest it or do whatever else with it. And we kind of he kind of handles that. And then when it comes to our calendars or plannings or all of that stuff, I'm much better at that stuff. So I take all that stuff and get us all nailed out. Yeah. So we kind of know hey, these are your, I loathe unloading the dishwasher. I like to load it and put everything in order. And I hate, I'd leave them in there for 3 months. I hate unloading even little things, so he is I know you hate it, so I'll do that, but I do other things. So we really were okay, from business to home, what do I like to do? What does he like to do? What am I really good at? What's he really good at? And then those are just kind of our things, we just
that's good.
Do them. And then the other thing that I wrote down that I thought about, and this has gotten so much, it's easier. It was not as difficult. It was very difficult for me originally, but it's just being able to set the expectations, because if I set the expectation with Adam that, hey, I have a crazy week and I'm probably going to need to talk about this. And we might even need to, I might need your help with it or whatever throughout the week. Then he knows okay, this is going to be a busier week, because Adam's more on the expectations where I'm really not. I'm just go with the flow. I don't care what we do. You know what I mean? So I think we had to get clear on just, did one of us need more expectations and communication? And then I just have to be aware of that.
So do you mean by that, do you mean he needs to know what to expect is coming and you can just wing whatever.
Yes. So like, for instance, if I was like, we're going to go to dinner, but I knew that I had to like, take a call while we were there or do something while we were on the way home. Like he wants to know, are we doing like an us dinner or was this going to be like a working dinner? And he doesn't care either way. He just wants to know so that he just is, so then he knows, like what we're gonna, I don't know. He just is big on expectations. Like we even have Adam time and Dana time. So if I say I'm going to be home at 6, he'll say, is that Adam time or Dana time? And if I'm really going to be home at 6, I'll say Adam time. If I think I might be like 7, I'll be like, well, it's Dana time, because I really do have to stop at the store and do this and do that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good though, that you guys have recognized that. I mean, that's one of the things I said to her is just well, because, mom guilts are really a real thing. And I said, the thing you want to stay away from is mom guilt. So if those conversations bleeding into the evening, because I said, I promise you, your kids hate it. My kids hated that we talked about real estate all the time. So we had to set boundaries about that. And then the other thing is, you don't want to have guilt and regrets, because I always remember the realtor when I was in Atlanta and they asked me to meet with her. She was a potential recruit. And that lady, what she said to me stuck with me the rest of my life. She said, I have 2 grown daughters. And she said, and tears came to her eyes. She said, and here's the thing, I was at every event and I was at none of the events.
Yeah.
Meaning she was on the phone. She was not present. And it just broke my heart. I couldn't stand it. So the one thing I said is, look, those kids are only there for like so many summers or so many days. You got to make sure that you don't wind up having regrets around that kind of stuff. And your kids grow up, and hate, could hate the business because they hear, a lot of times what you want to tell the other person is what's going on, because you have very few people you can vent to.
Yeah.
And so that's the part they get to hear, and then they grow up hating the business.
Yeah. Well, and actually so the kids is a great example, but even just in relationship wise, I mean, I know a couple that the husband has traveled for his work for like the last 20 years. And I mean, travel like out of 365 days, he was probably at home like 15 days out of the year. And he just retired from that role. And now they're like really, really struggling. Because they didn't know how each other operated or how to be together on an all the time basis. And they were, he was present for some things, but not everything. So I think it's just like just being aware really more than anything, and like relearning how you are with each other. I think too, when you work together, like we have to be very intentional with date time and just doing stuff and being able to really do stuff together that's not work related. We plan out our calendar every year in the first week of January for the whole year. I know y'all kind of do that too, as much as you can, get the big things planned out of the way. And but I actually text Adam, one of my very favorite country people is Morgan Wallen. A lot of people don't know him, but I love him. He's great. And I just found out he was playing. Actually, my friend told me that he was playing down at an outdoor like concert venue in Tennessee. And so this morning I got on as soon as they went live and got us tickets. And I thought, and so I told Adam, and he's like, wait, but I think that weekend we have such and such and such. And I'm like, yeah, but like we need to do something spontaneous, and we both love concerts. So it's just thinking about a time to be able to like, really actually say, okay, here's where we're going to plan our times. And then how can we actually plan being together? Because you could work yourselves to death together, but it's actually spending time together. And then the last thing I wrote down was one exercise that Terry had us do. And this was for our leadership teams, but I have loved it. And I think it's so helpful. And it's called the energy zone. So you basically figure out everybody has a green zone, a yellow zone, and a red zone, meaning the times of the day that you're at your best. And they say you're really only in your green zone for 4 hours a day. So is it like, 6 a.m. to noon in the morning is your green zone? Are you better like noon to 6 in the afternoon? Or are you a night owl, like 6 to, midnight or whatever? So which one are you at your best? Which one are you mediocre? And which one are you at your worst? And then what they say is the time that you're in your green zone, because it's different for everybody. We just assume that it's morning for most people, but it's not. And so whatever time you're at your best, those are when you do your best activities. Well, I laughed because when we did this exercise last week, I was thinking I would have said, 5 or 6 years ago that my green zone was at night, because I would stay up till like 1 or 2 and I could like concentrate, be by myself, really knock stuff out, get it done. I could think the best. but Adams is like from 4 a.m. till, 9 a.m. And so over the last couple of years, really, we were on total opposite ends of the spectrum. So really mine has kind of flip-flopped to more way morning now over the last 3 years. And I can like get up early, get my stuff done, knock it out, and I'm much more in my green zone. But I think just relationship wise, it's important to know, are you all have the same or different? And then really just figure out how to work around that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cause you don't want to only give your significant other, the red zone time.
That's right.
Yep.
That's exactly what they said. I mean, when you're working, when you use it for working, you want to work in your green zone, but you also can't give the people that you care about only the red. And so she was saying how you have to really try to figure out how you can balance, both.
Yeah. And I think the number one thing, of course, in any kind of relationship is communication, and don't expect them to read your mind or understand or whatever you have to tell them. And I always remember, I used to come home and still do, with my hair is the day my hair's done, that means date night. I mean, I don't know what day of the week it is, that's date night. And if you don't get that, you ain't been around for a while. And so, if I come home and you say, here, I got us dinner fixed, we're in trouble. You're in trouble because it's date night. I don't care. Hair's done. We're going out.
We're going to Mexican.
We're going to Mexican food. Let's hurry. I think the best thing is just sit down and communicate because, and I think also, we spend a lot of time reading books about how to be productive. How do you, because the one thing and I always love it when Gary explains that the family ball is like the glass ball, the one ball you can't let drop, and I think I look back now and go, man, as much as I was a reader, why didn't I read more stuff about, family time? And, I hear some of the stuff. I'm like, that's a great idea. Where was that at when my kids were little? So I think spending a little bit of time reading relationship books, reading, parenting books, really sitting down and getting realistic about how long you actually have with your kids there in your home. And then, you got to have because I see marriages break up because, the kids leave and they have nothing in common. Right. Yeah. So you want to keep that going too. But at the same time, what's important to us about, the time we have with our kids, because you kind of think it's going to be forever. I remember when Press one day we were going to lunch because he's going off to college and I'm crying. And he said, Mom, I'm not leaving forever. I said, Press, I'm not crying that you're leaving forever. I'm crying that this season is going to be gone and I'll never get it back. Yeah. So I don't think we think enough about seasons, about this season of my life. What would if I looked back on it, what would I have regrets about? And how do I communicate and make sure and set expectations up front right now so that I don't have those regrets, because you just, the seasons change, they're different. Right. Yeah. And so I think doing that would be super important. And, I think it's hard to work together. In the next episode, I know we're going to talk about how do you define your roles, whether you have a partner or significant other working together and those kind of things. But, I think I love what you said about you and Adam. Y'all kind of figured out even in the house, what parts you each like and don't like. And that's a great way to serve the other one is to know I know they hate unloading the dishwasher, so I'm going to unload the dishwasher.
And mine is my love language is acts of service, like times 20. So so that's definitely the best thing for me. The last thing I wanted to say is the book I was telling you about. We just finished a book called Relationship Grit by John Gordon, and his wife co-authors it. And it is John Gordon is who wrote The Energy Bus. And which a lot of people have read The Energy Bus, but it is fantastic, and it's truly about like relationship and working together in a relationship, and it's a quick read and it is so good. So I would highly recommend that to Katie and then anybody else that may benefit from that too.
Yeah, I agree. I think you get great ideas from people who seem to have it together and have relationships going. I love the love language one also. Yeah. Because I think sometimes and also thinking about that list, I'm afraid Jimmy's list would be way longer than mine because I don't like very much stuff to do very much. So we'll just subcontract it out.
Adam's quote is, "There's no job too small to subcontract."
Yeah, that's true. I just thought of a good parenting book. It's probably out of print, but I think it was by Linda and Richard Eyre, and I think it was 5 Steps to a Strong Family.
Oh,
And
cool.
it's really good. There's some really good stuff in there, like setting up a family tradition so that when your kids go and like his, I think was like, playing in the leaves with his kids. So every time Father's Day would come around, they'd all send him a leaf in his Father's Day card.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I love that.
kind of set up some rituals like that too.
Man, I have such another good one. I was just trying to find on my bookshelf and I can't remember which one it is. Anyway, the one I was thinking of is actually for blended families. So if anybody,
That's good.
yeah, it's such a great one of like working with bonus kids or stepchildren. Oh my gosh, and I cannot find it. Okay, I'll have to find it and we'll have to put it in the show notes when Kate posts this because I know I have it somewhere.
Okay, that sounds good. All right. So remember, if you have a question or a challenge or an opportunity you'd like for Dana and I to discuss on this podcast, reach out to us at info@everything life and real estate. And if you haven't, please hit the subscribe button and we'd love to have a review, especially a 5-star one. And if you know someone that you think would benefit from these conversations, be sure and pass this podcast along. And Dana, I guess I'll see you. I won't be seeing you, but I'll talk to you next week.
Yes, sounds good. See you then.
See you then.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.